Well, howdy boys, Paul with you here today. A lot of you guys have been curious about me and the 2020 Ford. Am I going to pull the trigger on one or not? Figured I'd bring you along on this little test drive. Just test driving a good old working truck. As you can tell, the floor mats are all rubberized. This would make a good work truck, but figured I'd bring you along on this little test drive. I've not driven this thing for a day or two. This is just a quick test drive. Wanted to mention what jumps out to me, being a Ram, call me whatever you want to call me, die-hard Ram guy. But first things first, this thing is fast compared to a Ram. Just driving around, no trailer, nothing. This thing's really responsive. It's very quick. It just moves. It doesn't have the lock and load, and you can't really tell the whole lock and load deal without a trailer, but you hit that skinny pedal and she moves. She moves very well. The newer generation, I think this is called third generation 6.7 Powerstroke, exhaust brake works much better, and I mean much better. It has good high and low revs, exhaust braking power. The low RPM is still not as strong as the Cummins, with my experience goes, but phenomenally better. I mean, what Ford was doing before and what they're doing now, it's still much better. I mean, previously it was almost non-existent. Basing it off a 17 Ford. This is a 2020. Now, my personal biggest concern, biggest question I had was the 10-speed, and I really like the fact that they have the gauge there showing you what gear you're in. Under light throttle, I mean, you could tell it's first, second. I've seen it jump gears, and it does it pretty well. Doesn't bog down the engine or anything. I mean, shoot, you ask me, this engine seems like it has a lot of power. Obviously, I can't really get on it because it's wet out. But you could definitely see and hear and feel the power. The power is present. This engine's very alive. It's a lot quicker than the Cummins. Cummins is very slow. Just in stock form, it's much slower than this Powerstroke. But I'm the guy that tows a lot, so for me the proper comparison would be hooking up trailers to both of them and see how they perform. I can't do that with the dealer vehicle, so just driving it. Back to the transmission. It's very positive shifting, very good things. I was curious. I knew it was a good transmission. I have very little experience, but I do have a little bit of experience with the 10 speeds from the GM side of it. You're gonna scream and say it's not the same tranny. Ison is Ison, Allison is Allison, and before you fall off your chairs, I know it's not an Allison transmission in the GM, let's just say the 2020s, but the character, the nature of it is true, and what I'm trying to imply here is, I own a bunch of Ison trucks, and I'll jump in a Volvo vehicle, and I told my brother-in-law, this feels like an Ison transmission. As funny as it is, that this is an Ison transmission. So it's that character, it's that attitude. I mean, you could tune things differently and it could really mislead you there, but I could definitely feel the 10-speed in similarities from the GM side of it. I know they're tuned differently, it has its differences, but the transmission is very well tuned. As far as just hauling your tail around, just taking it easy, it's very, it shifts properly. It doesn't just lock the gear down like a madman, or it doesn't burn the gear, and then when you get on it, let's just say I'll abruptly give it quarter throttle. Just downshift real quick. I mean, that's quarter throttle, guys. I ain't exaggerating nothing. This is a little bit of a lighter truck, has the shorter bed, but not to take anything away from it. It just moves. It is ready to move. It's ready to lock and haul tail, and yeah. Cummins and Duramax are way behind as far as the empty pickup and scooting along. And a lot of people drive their pickups at a high percentage of just unloaded weight. So they could really appreciate the quickness of a pickup, you know, in and out of traffic kind of deal, on ramps, where it acts much as a passenger vehicle. It is raining pretty well out here, but I'll still hop out, show you under the hood. Not as if you guys haven't seen it under the hood, but I would like to underline a few things. The main reasons why I'm holding off from buying a Ford. And a lot of you guys are going to say, like, why should you call it so highly of this vehicle but not buy it? There's a lot of potential problems under that hood, and it's always going to be. Man, I better pull over and show you what I'm talking about instead of just talking about it. That's a good enough driveway here. It's a pretty dead-end area. So anywho's, my biggest concern, and I'll show you under the hood, partially this fixable. I could see myself switching some of these plastics out, but overall there's a lot of concern. I mean, I know you're gonna say, oh, that's a Ram, it's gonna fall apart. This isn't. But Ram has one of these plastic couplers, and that's an issue every 150,000. Any way you spin it, plastic is plastic, and is nowhere near as durable as aluminum or steel will ever be. So my biggest concern is all these could be changed out with copper couplers or T's, whatever you want to call them. There's plastic, a lot of plastic valving, these kind of things. Obviously that's coolant. Over time it's going to crack. This is vacuum. I'm not as concerned about, let's just say, I mean, this is actually rubber, which is good. Then you got like a plastic. I don't know, I don't feel comfortable with that, but then they'll give you a decent, I think that's EGR valve. You know, it's a mixture of things. I don't know why Ford went with green coolant. I'm seeing it in GT350s, and I'm seeing them in this 2020's got the green coolant on. But a lot of plasticky, a lot of concern of it cracking and leaking. I mean, this is your clamp. This plastic part is your clamp. As you can tell, the hose comes through right here. What am I pointing at? That's rubber right there, and this is your clamp. It's gonna expand and contract, and at some point it's gonna crack. That's gonna crack. That's gonna crack. I'm seeing that Ram, or I'm so used to saying Ram. Ford took care of some plastics here, but why keep this boot in here, like this coupler? Why not just continue aluminum? Obviously they put this in, which is really nice. They took care of that. The fuel filter is really quick to change. A lot of more plastic couplers there, guys. This is going to be a problem, you like it or not. You know what I mean? Plastic is plastic. You can tell me how great this plastic is. That's just the nature of the beast. Right here at a quick glimpse, I was a little concerned. I'm like, why do they need so much valving for this coolant? But it has nothing to do with the coolant. It just uses it as a bracketry here. This is with the vacuum system. I'm not much concerned about this. I mean, this is plastic and vacuum, but I would be much less concerned about this plasticky stuff, specifically on the vacuum side, than I would be with coolant. I mean, obviously you're still gonna run into trouble at some point with the plastic vacuum side, but specifically the coolant side of it, come on, Ford, give us something more reliable. At this point, I'm not much of a Ford guy, but at this point, this is the main, I know it sounds cheesy, but main reason why I'm holding off on buying it. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's not me. Obviously, the engines of V8 technology has came so far forward. I can possibly gamble. Holy smokes, man. That was not good. Getting that door panel wasn't a good idea. I could play with the idea of getting a V8. I mean, in my books, an inline 6 is an inline 6, and you're never going to beat it as far as towing. But to have the difference, to be able to have that peppiness, the quickness in the vehicle, I could toy with the idea of getting a V8, because V8s are always going to be quicker. So with the right transmission, I could see how I can see how it's doable to be able to do towing. I mean, you just keep it at higher revs, in my opinion. In extreme, but once again, man, I'm always talking about extreme cases. You know, your everyday Joe, he's gonna be perfectly fine idling his way, towing trailers. Oh, come on, take it easy. Something I really like what they did here. I mean, dude, look how easy this thing just accelerates. I'm not shoving my foot down its throat. Just being a little bit going down. Look at that. It just moves. This Ford just wants to take Ram and GM for a joyride is what it does. I really like what Ford did here. I really do. I mean, to some of you guys, it might be gimmicky. So, drive mode. They gave you normal. They gave you tow haul. They gave you eco. They gave you slippery. I mean, deep sand. I mean, all that. That's just phenomenal. And for you to get a locking diff with a work truck, I mean, as you can tell, this is a working truck. It's really nice of Ford to be able to do that for you. I like the simplicity of the interior. I mean, they're way behind as far as design and fit and finish, but what it counts for a work truck, perfectly fine. I wouldn't have a problem with this interior as far as a work truck. Pretty crappy for a premium, a limited. Obviously, they're going to have more padding and all that. Still, Ford, you're way behind on your interior. Catch up to the game. I think GM's really putting it in gear. We got something promising coming our way here with GM, but Ford, anyways. So yeah, those are things that stand out to me. You guys can judge me, call me dumb, smart, whatever you want to, but a lot of you guys are curious what's all going down with Ford. Does this mean I won't touch a Ford? Man, I'm always curious to check things out. I'm always tempted to test them out. You know, Ford, you want to give me a truck for me to test? I'll take it. Am I going to spend 60 grand on a truck? That's a little hard for me. It really is. Especially with the way the economy is. It's affecting me as well. Yes, I'm in the transportation business. It is essential, but it still affects us. We're doing good overall. Overall, we are doing good, so thank God for it. But I got to be cautious of my, should I say, spending habits. Anyways, back to this Ford. I got to wrap up this video. As far as what I expected, the performance of the engine has surpassed my expectations, meaning it's a very lively engine. I do not know how it's going to tow, but I can only imagine with this transmission, it's going to put it in the right gear, and this thing's going to rock it. So, you know, I am getting antsy and curious to see how this thing would perform with the trailer behind it. So as far as the engine, it gets a 10 for me out of 1 to 10. This engine performed very well, but once again, guys, it's just a short little test drive. I haven't done anything lengthy on it. Now, as far as the transmission, as expected, shifting very precisely and well, I'll give it a 10 based off my quick little test drive. I mean, obviously those numbers are going to go down because the more you drive a vehicle, the more you can find the imperfections. The more paces you put it through. Towing, hauling, meaning, high speeds, low speeds, inclines, declines. I mean, I could already tell you this exhaust brake isn't as strong as Cummins, but it is existent compared to the second generation, the 17 Ford 7 or the 6.7 Fords. The 2017 Ford with the 6.7, that exhaust brake was nearly non-existent. Like, it was pointless. Nearly pointless. I mean, obviously it did something at some point. But anyways, with that guys in mind, suspension, I can't really tell. Overall, it's decent, but obviously I haven't done any washboard road or haven't done any off-roading or pulling a trailer off-road, that kind of thing. Overall, the way the truck handles itself, the salesman told me it drove much better than the 17, or should I say the older generation. He was comparing 19 to 20. I'm not seeing it. I'm not buying it. It drives just like a 19 in my books. And I'm referring to the 17 that we had. Nothing better, nothing worse as far as the drive. The sound quality, meaning, the interior noise, it's good. It was decent. It's still decent. Nothing astronomical, nothing, nothing lacking up. The only big issue, there's two things that jump at me with this Ford, is the piece of, should I say, the lack of ingenuity on the design inside. I don't know, it's just not my cup of tea as far as fit and finish goes. But for a work truck, who cares, man? It keeps its crap together and it stays together. It's all that really matters. As far as convenience goes, okay, I was approaching the fit and finish, the way it looks, the styling. Now, as far as fit and finish goes, or should I say the sturdiness, the build quality, how sturdy it feels perfectly fine, guys. This thing isn't gonna snap in half on you, so don't worry about that. So, overall, it's a decent vehicle. It has my interest. As I said, man, if Ford wants to give me one of these trucks, I will hook a trailer in and put it through its paces, and I will give you the honest truth. I guess Ford can't handle the honest truth, and they'll give me a truck. But if you'd like to see me test this thing and show what your truck's capable of, let me know. I'll be interested. My email is always in the description of my videos. So, anyways, guys, as always, may the Lord bless you, and may Almighty find day. And am I buying this vehicle? No. Am I antsy? Am I tempted to mess with one of these personally for myself? Yes. So we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. Stand by, and I'll keep you all posted. Ciao. Bye.